Welcome to another episode of Brian probably peaks his mic a lot. Have you checked your volume yet?
I totally have. And I can't believe it'll take like 3 more years to get Kingdom Hearts 3. What the fuck?
I can completely believe that. That is
I
unbelievably believable.
It's 3 years!
when I saw the reveal trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3, I thought, with no doubt in my mind, this is probably pre-rendered.
I mean, it only took Square Enix how many years to make a mediocre Final Fantasy sequel? Was it 10 years for Versus 13?
Yep.
Technically 3.5.
Well, they made it in 3.5, but it took 10
Yeah,
years for
they
them
had
to
to
get the
restart
finished product
development.
out. They restarted it
Uh-oh.
3 times, didn't they?
Some 3 or 4 times. They kicked off Nomura at the end and were like, here,
Not
Tabata,
enough.
make it. And you know what? We never really got Versus 13. We just got something wearing Versus 13 skin.
I can't wait for all of Square Enix's E3 announcements to be DLC for Final Fantasy 15 and also, like, Avengers games.
I'm ready for the Guardians of the Galaxy Eidos Montreal game. I'm ready to fucking kill myself.
You know what else you were ready for this week?
Oh,
Fire
A
Emblem
lot
Echoes.
of things. There's a lot of things that happened the last 2 weeks while we were gone.
Yeah, Matt,
Like-
tell us about Fire Emblem. Ignore Colin.
Fuck you.
Fire Emblem Echoes is a pretty swell game. I've been enjoying it a lot, actually. I think it might be my favorite of the 3DS games, but we'll see how that goes.
And technically, it's not even a 3DS game, it's a Famicom game.
Well, the remake adds so much to it that it feels like a completely new game.
It's good.
The battle system has taken a step back from the past few games, but I don't mind that. It feels fine the way it is. But they added towns and explorable dungeons, 3D dungeons, and if anybody knows me, people here don't, 3D dungeons, 3D dungeon crawling will get me to like your game a lot. It feels very reminiscent of the 2 Shin Megami Tensei 4 games on the 3DS. It's a whole lot of fun, and I'm enjoying myself.
I can hear the enthusiasm in your voice.
It's okay, Brian. I
It's
never
like
have
5%
enthusiasm anyway.
there.
Did you guys know that I actually own a device that can alter on the fly the enthusiasm in Matt's voice, like
What?
right here, right now? Yeah, it's really cool. Let me do this barely audible clicking in the background.
Fire Emblem Echoes.
There we go. Now it's kicking into high gear.
The signal was pretty bad.
Remember to pick up Fire Emblem Echoes on your 3DS if your 3DS wasn't banned from online services because you soft modded it, you jerkerino.
You can still get new games. You just can't use the eShop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just gotta
Yeah.
turn off the Wi-Fi
If
thing.
if you
And hope
soft
not to
modded your
get-
3DS,
Yeah.
you can still download it. Fine.
Oh, man.
Cut that
Other than
out.
that, Matt,
Yeah.
Matt!
how far are you in Nier Automata?
I haven't been able to play it. I'm at the same place I said I was last time, which is part of the third part of the game. I've got a few bones to pick with Nier Automata. That's not to say I don't like it. I think it's pretty great, actually. And this is a lot coming from me because I hate the first Nier. But the second one is pretty good in my eyes. I just have one big problem with the game so far.
Does
And
it
that's-
Go
involve
on.
9S?
Huh?
Does it involve 9S?
Yes. But it's about how you have to play the entire game twice for the first 2 run-throughs.
Oh no, really?
I feel like
Oh,
Well,
It's
you
not
don't
the
have to
entire
play
game. It's not the entire game. You
Yeah,
play
like
through.
you're missing the second half.
You play through the first half twice.
time to get my refund.
The first half you play as 2B and then you play as 9S and you get their perspective, but like I don't feel like anything was enhanced by making you do it twice. I feel like if you just switched back and forth as things were happening, it would have been better. The few things you don't know as 9S that you learn while playing his side would have been a lot better if you just found out later while playing as 2B. There's literally no reason other than padding why you should have to play that first half twice.
I mean, there are a few other little cues in there that...
But playing as 9S is way more fun than playing as 2B.
It really is.
When you play as 2B, it's basically just your run-of-the-mill hack and slash, except you have a fire button that you can hold down, which you should be holding down at all times anyway. But when you play as 9S, your heavy attack button becomes a hacking minigame where you can make enemies explode by winning the hacking minigame. And it adds a sort of ebb and flow to the combat that was missing when you're playing as 2B.
I told you would like it.
But yeah,
you really hated it when it first popped up.
Also, I didn't hate the hacking parts. What I hated was there's a section in the second boss in the carnival level where the game becomes top-down for no reason whatsoever, and it's hard to even see what the fuck's around you, so you can't premeditate if you're going to be hit by a shockwave from right off the screen. That boss fight is pretty bad. But other than that, I'm fine with the rest of the game. There's a lot of stupid artistic symbolism things that pop up in 9S's story that had me chuckling like a motherfucker. This game is very stupid, and it doesn't think it's stupid, so it's very easy to laugh at.
It's actually really good, and you're just wrong. Also, have you met Jean-Pierre in the game?
Jean-Pierre, I don't think so.
Have you met the really pretentious robot who in the village?
No.
I called him Jean-Pierre, but I just want you to... Jean-Paul, that's who I meant. Jean-Paul. I kept thinking of, Polnareff's name from JoJo for whatever reason. But no, Jean-Paul, there's a really pretentious robot in... what's his name's village?
Pascal?
Pascal? Yeah. There's a robot there named Jean-Paul who's this big philosopher, right? Mm-hmm. And he's based off an actual philosopher named Jean-Paul Sartre.
Yeah.
And you know how in the second route, you actually get backstory on the carnival boss?
Yeah.
And why she is the way she is?
Is the guy that she wanted the attention from
Jean-Paul?
Is it him?
Yeah. Well, there are other characters who have the same silhouette, but I was talking to George about it, and he said it makes so much more sense if it was Jean-Paul. and he is right. They do have the same silhouette, and Jean-Paul also rejected every girl that threw love and affection his way.
Mm.
And they kept... Yeah.
I need to play more Nier Automata. I bought it right before I went to Japan, and then when I came back, I had no time.
It's really good. I
played a couple hours of it, and I enjoyed what I was, but oh man, once I got back from Japan, there was the fucking 2 weeks of just really good games, back to back to back, and it's still happening.
Yeah, I still haven't had a chance to play Neo.
I've been having, I think the last month and a half has been absolutely fantastic with new releases. There hasn't been one that I think is really bad. I've been pretty good with, pretty happy with all my game purchases.
Oh, one more thing with 9S's story. So in certain cutscenes, they add background characters that are like little Easter eggs and hints. They're in the background, and in the final cutscene of his story, they're just fucking staring at 2B and 9S. It's the most awkward goddamn thing.
I know, it's really weird.
I don't understand why.
Oh, it'll be explained in the C and D route.
Okay. It was really, really funny in the moment.
It's really weird, trust me. If you had picked up on them earlier, and I noticed you didn't pick up on them, I know George didn't pick up on them, but there are a few cutscenes where they can be seen in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Very briefly. Very briefly. I thought I was fucking tripping when I first saw it happen, because it was so fast. It wasn't even a second.
But they are there. Off the topic of weeb shit, but like I've also noticed that in the topics list is Super Sonico. I would like an explanation for this.
It's actually Sonic.
Oh, okay. I was like, which of you fuckers bought that goddamn picture-taking game that's on Steam that I bought for Austin that one time?
I really want that game.
I mean, just watch the endings on YouTube.
I want to play through the shittiness myself.
I guess. So wait, why are we talking about Sonic?
Okay, so in the 2 weeks that we haven't done a pood, Sega revealed you can make your own Sonic OCs in the new Sonic game.
Oh, of course. Oh, man. You know, the fucking second I saw that, I was like, I need to make Sonichu. I need to fucking make Sonichu. And then I learned you can put, like, Doom Guy's helmet as a fucking accessory. And I was like, it's happening. Sonichu with Doom Guy's helmet. It's gonna
I was watching
happen.
Their, they do, like, a little podcast or, like, little streams on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
And they were asking, who's the guy that runs the social media? Isn't his name like Aaron or something?
Aaron Weber.
Yeah, Aaron Weber.
So they asked Aaron, can you make Cold Steel the Hedgehog? His response, you can get pretty damn close.
Yes!
It's gonna be a reality. I'm sure the other one they would have asked is Sonichu, but it seems like they also try to stray away from the Chris Chan memes a bit.
They
nowadays.
really do.
You wouldn't want to associate yourself with that.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, I'm gonna make Cold Steel. I'm gonna
pre-order my copy of Sonic Forces at GameStop, so when I pick up the game, I can walk out going, "Don't call anyone," and mace myself while I'm leaving the store.
I'm gonna make Bubsy. I'm gonna get as close as I can to making Bubsy.
That game now seems like 30 times more attractive just because of that. The dumbest fucking edition is also the best fucking edition ever made.
I really want to see how because there's always going to be one person who just tries to make the third Sonic or Shadow the Hedgehog.
I wonder if you can make Sonic Boom Sonic.
I wonder if you could just make Sonic again.
That would be perfect.
I wonder if you can just make like costumes. Random like Sonic characters, like the fucking Bee or
Charmy?
Yeah. I don't remember. Who the fuck actually remembers the names of these characters? These crusty, dusty, rusty Sonic characters.
Hey, I fucking love... See, the one thing Matt and I can agree on is that Sonic is a timeless classic. But can we finally fucking move on to controller gimmicks?
So we played games recently that uses controllers in very fascinating ways. Some good, some bad, and by some good and some bad, I mean 2 games that use them amazingly and one that uses it in like poop. The one that uses it like poop is Ultra Street Fighter 2, which also just came out today as of recording it. Ultra Street Fighter 2. It's the best version of Street Fighter 2. Way of the Hado mode. Absolutely sucks.
Yeah, it always looked like it looks like fucking garbage.
It's really bad. I mean,
it looks like something you would make it like a game jam, like in less than 24 hours.
It's very obvious they just included it as like a little funny XD thing that would be cute, and surely to like pad out the fucking price of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's the one thing.
Because the game itself is like it's fucking weird to say, but Ultra Street Fighter 2 is it's a good version of Street Fighter. It's the best version of Street Fighter 2. It's a surprisingly super faithful port, but also update to Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Like unlike the HD remix that came out on Xbox 360, which is the majority of what this port is based on, they resized and redrew all of the old redrawn sprites, and they've even remade like the title screens and the cut scenes and the backgrounds and everything.
They haven't changed any of the sprites, aside from the character portraits.
No, they
resized them, but they haven't redrawn any of them at all.
Some of them are different though, in terms of coloring.
That could just be like,
and they've been slightly up-resed. But
that's possible.
But you never know.
The thing is, this fucking thing shouldn't be $40.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm glad because Best Buy is a great store, and you can get things for a lot cheaper because of discounts and reward certificates and all that great stuff. But yeah, Way of the Hado mode is really bad. If you don't know what it is, it's a mode where you just shoot a bunch of Shadaloo soldiers that were in the background of Street Fighter 4, and you do it with motion controls that make you do like a Hadouken or a flying kick or Shoryuken.
But yeah, Ultra Street Fighter 2 shouldn't be $40.
No.
Fuck.
And
God damn it, Brian! You ruined my stream of consciousness.
The motion controls are just, they're horribly delayed. They barely work most of the time, and like they're also just weird. Like you do the Hadouken, like the Hadouken motion to Hadouken, but like to do the Shoryuken, to do the uppercut, you don't do an uppercut with the Joy-Con. You actually swing your arm like to the side.
The fuck?
And then to do the flying kick, you hold both Joy-Cons and you thrust them upward. It makes no fucking sense.
Okay.
Yeah, that looks really weird
to
me.
And the Hadouken is the only good attack because it's ranged. And all the enemies are going to be like 5, 6, 7, 8 feet away from you. So you might as well just keep fucking be a scrub and spam Hadoukens.
My favorite thing about Ultra Street Fighter 2 is that Capcom's gonna decide what games they're gonna bring to the Switch based on the sales of it.
I think that's kind of bullshit because
that's total bullshit.
They have an RE7 port that they haven't told anyone yet.
No, they're gonna decide.
Also, yeah. Wait a minute. If they're doing Monster Hunter, like, why is Ultra Street Fighter 2 the test?
No, they're gonna decide which kinds of games they're bringing. Not that they're. It's not that they're gonna decide if they're gonna support the Switch. No, the actual quote is that they're gonna decide which games they're gonna bring to the Switch.
That's so fucking stupid.
Because I imagine if Ultra Street Fighter 2 doesn't do well, they're not bringing over 5.
Yeah.
Why would they bring over Street Fighter 5 though? That was a Sony-funded project.
Was it?
Yeah, Sony was the one that funded it.
Wasn't Marvel, wasn't that confirmed for Switch?
No, I don't think so.
No, but that could not come out because of poor sales of Ultra Street Fighter 2, which is probably going to be what's going to happen because they're charging $40 for a game that's... Is it like fucking 30 years old by now?
No, it'd be 25.
25, okay. But yeah, 25
It came out in like 91, 92. So, Woo. Yeah. It is Street Fighter's 30th anniversary, though. But, like...
Nobody
that includes the first game that no one likes, yeah. So...
Oh, God. It really is just Street Fighter's 25th anniversary.
Speaking of ARMS...
It's time for me to be silent for about 10 minutes.
So interestingly enough, I played Way of the Hado mode, and I had a friend over, and we were like, wow, this is just really fucking bad. And then we spent like 10, 20 minutes talking about how cool the Switch is, and how the motion controls are actually pretty good, but like, not in Way of the Hado mode. And then the ARMS test punch started up, and... Originally, I was just planning to do, like, one-player mode and we swap out the controller, but we ended up doing two-player, and holy fuck, it is the best.
It's really fucking good.
We had such a good time, and we played for the entirety of the hour. We never stopped. I think we changed characters once, but we never backed out to the main menu. We just, like, kept going. And... it was such a fucking blast.
What was your final score in terms of coins?
Like a 76, I believe it was.
Okay, because mine was like at 79.
We had like a 10 game winning streak at one point. That just kept. It just kept going and going. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it's so easy to beat others. If you're fighting two people, though, that are clearly together, you can tell because their names will be beside each other.
Yeah. Which is where if you follow my Twitter, the fucking wordplay that I have on my Nintendo Switch accounts probably was real good.
Well,
because you know the two accounts, right?
I don't.
It's my username. Quallen and Kawaii.
Okay. Oh, that's right. I do know that.
I can be your angel or your devil.
Anyways. Yeah. So, it's so obvious when two people are playing together, like, how much better these teams will be, because they're literally right beside each other.
The 2v2s were way more fun than we thought they were going to be.
My only complaint with the 2v2 is the string combining the characters. That
got really annoying because there was I felt like there was too many times where your partner gets thrown, and because of that you're thrown in front of your partner, and then your partner will keep punching even though you're in front of your partner, and he's just like knocking you in the back of the fucking noggin.
Yeah, and what I also hated about that was it restricts how far away you can go from your partner. So I've had moments where, like, I'll try and fight this team that's clearly giving my teammate shit.
I think that's fine. It just sucks if your partner's, like, standing in one stationary position, and the same thing with the other team, and you guys are just, like, trying to hurl fucking grabs at each other.
Yeah, speaking of
But the grabs are really what, like... that make that mechanic really good, because you can just fling people across the map.
What I fucking hated about grabs is I ran across these two players, obviously same room, they had their names beside each other.
Yeah.
They would team up on just one player, and this really fucked me over because they kept grabbing my teammate and throwing him across the room, which threw me across the room. And they would both throw out a grab, but with enough of a delay that no matter what, the minute he gets up, no matter which way he goes, he's getting grabbed. So that became very fucking annoying very quickly, and they kept using that shit on me, and no matter which way I tried to dodge, because it was two of them, they would just grab me and throw me down. I literally couldn't do shit.
You pretty much had to, like, jump at the right opportune time, or I don't know, like I had a friend who really didn't like the defense, like, who said there was like no defending in ARMS, and I don't think that's necessarily true, but I did have sort of a tough time with it. I think for some reason the actual motion of blocking like barely worked for me, And that might have just been user error from me just not remembering how to do the blocking motion properly.
All you do is, like, dip the corners into each other. Well, dip the top.
That's what I was trying to do, and for some reason it just wasn't clicking. But it might have just been me holding it at a weird angle. But the other thing being that you can just punch the other punches away, which actually was way more useful in the long run. Is using one punch to, like, block, like, their grab, and then just 1-2 fucking hitting them with the other.
But what sucks about that is these people clearly were only in it for the grabs because they only ever equipped the heaviest weapons.
Yeah.
And if you have a heavy and a non-heavy, no matter what you do, you can't block it. You're pretty much fucked unless, like, you go into your super.
I don't know if I was having that many problems with that, because...
It was just those two people. They were the shittiest... It was clear that if they... It was clear...
What were they playing as?
They were playing as Ninjara and Master Mummy.
Yeah, those characters I think are going to need some kind of nerf.
I think
Ninjara
Master Mummy...
was like... I mean, the whole point of Ninjara is that he's really fucking hard to hit, but he's really fucking hard to hit. And
I didn't have any problem with Ninjara, to be honest.
I still beat him in rounds, but I think sometimes there were just like a couple times where I'm like, that attack should have landed.
I think the character combo to watch out for isn't Master Mummy with Ninjara. It's Master Mummy with fucking Mechanica.
Yeah, that we got that once, and it pretty much fucking decimated my friend.
Yeah, that combo definitely needs a nerf.
The tanks are definitely, like, really strong.
Tanky.
They're
really tanky.
Yeah.
But it's like one-on-one. I was
but
actually...
But it's not even like... I wouldn't say they're OP, though. I think they're, like, one very slight stat change away from being balanced. You know what I'm saying? I never felt like anything in the ARMS test punch was, like, too OP. It just needed, like, the tiniest of tweaks. And even then, with more characters in the roster in the final game, it might play completely differently.
Yeah, I think, crap, what is it? So,
but oh man.
Hold up, one-on-one is, like, exceedingly well-balanced. If you play
absolutely.
I'll be honest, I'm really bad at fighting games. So, whenever I place...
I'm not that great either. I just buy them and play them anyway.
Yeah, whenever I play Street Fighter 4 or 5 online, I have like a 5% win. I'm that bad at fighting games. But even when what I love about ARMS is, even though it's not your traditional fighting game, right? This is more like an arena brawler.
Yeah.
It's still really fun. I was actually really good. I was the best person in my lobby.
Yeah, no, I got the same thing too. We were like the highest scored. It was great.
Yeah, it's fucking fantastic. So
I think if you're also curious, if you're listening to this, we did play with the Joy-Cons in the grip to see how it would play with a normal control scheme, and it's good, but
the motion controls are surprisingly intuitive.
The motion controls are surprisingly that fucking tight and precise that, like, using the controllers didn't feel like a hindrance, but it just wasn't as fun.
It felt really nice. Yeah. Especially when you punch forward and then curve your arm.
Yeah.
That works surprisingly well.
Let me just say, also, like, the 2v2 stuff, like, as I said, I had a friend playing locally, and the way we actually played was like what they do in the advertisements, where they just have like a big empty floor in front of the TV, and they literally have like two guys standing next to each other, like facing the screen and like punching. And it was like, I wish we had recorded the audio of it. We had such a fucking blast playing this game. And like, we fucking dominated. There was high fives basically at the end of every single round, and it was such a fucking good time. Like, it is I think the most fun I've had with a local multiplayer game in ever. Like,
yeah,
there's nothing like it. I mean, people are gonna make the Wii boxing comparisons, but this takes it to a whole new level.
If you want to see like the difference in how motion controls have come like these last 10 years,
oh, absolutely,
literally, go play Wii boxing. Go play Skyward Sword.
So back in the day, I liked Red Steel. You know, the fucking Ubisoft launch title for the Wii.
Yeah,
I bet Matt is laughing his fucking little Batuski off right now. Remember remember the E3 demo when they showed off Red Steel and like the game like broke twice? Like cars and enemies were like falling through the environment.
No, I don't remember this.
Oh, it's a good time. I'd say look that up again. But
all right, I'll give it a look.
I remember like playing that and being like, this plays fucking cool and really liking it. And then like recently I got back into the, the motion control stuff by playing games like the London Heist and all these other VR games. So I'm like, oh, I should do a stream where I play Red Steel, and I tried playing it again, and they're so fucking archaic. Oh my, like the tracking is so fucking bad.
Yeah, going back, it's really weird.
I forgot how just like the standard Wii motion controls were. I think for some games it's fine. Stuff like Mad World and Twilight Princess, I think, still hold up pretty good. But like
Resident Evil 4 on the Wii still holds up.
Yeah, but holy shit! I mean, Red Steel was a game that people said had bad motion controls anyway when it came out. But god damn,
they're really noticeable in retrospect.
Like fucking 11 years later, yeah. But ARMS is perfect. It like. As I said, I think aside from the blocking issue, like, it never felt like anything I did was totally unwarranted.
Yeah, I think how Nintendo can get around this really easily is just make it so one of the buttons on the controllers blocks by default.
Yeah, I think you can still kind of do it, like, if you click the analog sticks, because the way... So, like, the thing that really was like interesting to me was like, how is the game going to decipher when you're doing motion controls versus a normal controller setup? Because the Joy-Con grip is literally just a piece of plastic. Like, there's nothing in it. Yeah. And basically what it does is that, like, if you have the control, if you're holding the controllers like in the standard thumbs up grip that they want you to,
yeah,
like it detects that you're actually doing it. But when you have them sort of parallel to each other, it automatically clicks in, like, it just resets into, like, normal controller mode. So we were able to, like, switch control schemes on the fly without having to mess with settings or anything, and it was totally fine.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. That explains it, because I was trying to play without motion controls at first, and I didn't know how to do it. I just wanted to play with the Joy-Con in each hand.
I think, yeah, I just think I mean, you might be able to if you just don't move it, and I think if you just use the analog sticks, it'll just immediately click in. But
no,
yeah,
it didn't do that. It didn't do that. I tried.
I think if you hold it a specific way, it will do that.
I want to say people have already gone deep into the volleyball meta. Like,
I mean, okay, here's the thing about volleyball mode. Here's the thing about the volleyball mode is that at first it's like totally what the fuck is going on, but like there was definitely a direct correlation between like when me and my friend were stopped saying what in the middle of these games, and we were like just totally acing rounds.
It's you actually do get a pretty strong grasp of it pretty quickly.
It's pretty simple. To bump it, you use both hands. To spike it, you use one hand.
Really?
Yeah, that's it.
I spike it with both hands.
I think it depends on the trajectory, but usually one hand was like an automatic, just fucking boosh, like.
Yeah, because slap. One hand, for me, one hand's a bump. Two hands is a little tornado bump, which puts it into like all play super high mode.
It also depends on the arm that you're using to do it.
Yeah, I played as Min Min throughout the whole thing, and I used her.
I didn't like Min Min that much. I I switched mostly between Springman and Ribbon Girl.
Oh, I've noticed though, if you're playing as one character and another player is playing as the same character, they get really aggressive towards each other.
Yeah,
I've noticed that. That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it was really great. That game has so much personality, and actually, I also liked how the lobby's set up, because the way the lobbies in ARMS work when you're doing 2-player is you'll like team up in one game type, and then you'll do another where you're either teaming up or you split off, and it allows the other player to like get some like to kind of rest up while the other person keeps playing, and then usually they switch out and then go back to doing teams. And it like at first it was kind of sucky, because it was like, oh, we want to keep playing, and team up and all that. But actually, it was like, once we were playing for like 30-40 minutes, it was like, oh, that that downtime of like a minute, a minute and a half, 2 minutes was like, that actually feels pretty good.
Yeah, it's actually really nice.
Yeah,
I like that you can see how much damage other players are taking in the time left.
Yeah.
And it all takes place a little dynamically. You even hear the little sound effects.
I mean, I think I said it in previous poods that I was not really looking forward to this game. In the sense that, like, I wasn't following the gameplay, and my initial reaction to it was just kind of like, it looks okay.
It wasn't like Splatoon where everyone wanted it right off the bat.
But you know what's funny is that it totally Splatooned us, because it's way fucking better than anyone could have ever imagined.
Yeah, it's really one of those you got to play it.
Nintendo, like, I know this is probably like the big We Love Nintendo podcast, but like, you have to be fucking real, and Breath of the Wild, MK8 Deluxe, even though it's a port, ARMS, Splatoon 2, like, and all coming within a span of, like, what, 5 months? That's a fucking solid lineup.
That really is.
Really good games. Like, and not even just really good, but, like, Game of the Year material stuff. I mean, granted, ARMS is not out yet, and the test punch might be different from the final game, and same thing with Splatoon 2, but right now, I think, like, that, and then later in the year we're getting like, after we played the test punch for an hour straight, like, as soon as we stopped doing the basics, we went into the online mode and just like did not stop playing for a straight hour. And I remember at the beginning, my friend was like, oh yeah, my girlfriend wants to get it around Christmas, and it's looking pretty good, we might actually do that. But at the end, he's like, Christmas is coming early, I gotta get a fucking Switch. ARMS is that good.
Yeah, I'm surprised it was so good, to be honest.
I'm like, this is a genuine reaction. I am super fucking blown away. And not only am I blown away by how, like, speaking of controller gimmicks that blew me the fuck away, moving on, not only was ARMS good, but Farpoint is phenomenal. If you don't know what Farpoint is, I mentioned it on earlier Pood. It's a brand new, it's the big, basically at the current moment, PlayStation VR game. And the whole kind of push for this game is that it comes with a new controller that's the PlayStation Aim controller that's very similar to the PlayStation Move sharpshooter for the PS3 that was used with Killzone 3 and Resistance 3. And, like, I was expecting Farpoint to be alright. I was really more curious as to how it could play than... because the trailers, honestly, didn't look that great. And Brian, I think you were even mentioning it, that it looked super story-focused and...
A little. You can tell just by looking at Farpoint that it is actually pretty intuitive for what it is.
It is
a VR game.
Like, it wasn't until I got the headset on, I strapped in, I got the fucking, PlayStation Aim controller in my hands, and I started playing it on a stream, and it is, I think, without a doubt, just like how ARMS is probably, like, the best motion control game right now. Probably, if ever. At least as far as like fighting, like motion control based fighting games are. Farpoint might be, without a doubt, like the best controlling VR game. Because holy shit, they did it. Like they managed to get, like, a lot of it comes down to the fact that the controller is just that good. Instead of the PlayStation Move, which was just the PlayStation, the sharpshooter that was just like the wand and the nunchuck just built into some plastic bullshit, the PlayStation Aim is basically a DualShock 4 built into this, like, rifle-like formation. So you have total control of everything. But, like, so you can move with the analog sticks, you can turn extra with the second analog stick if you want to, but, like, the real joy comes from not being able to turn in real life to turn in the game, but also being able to move your rifle however you want, and, like, you can move it up to your face and, like, look down the red dot sight and aim perfectly. And it's just, like, it doesn't sound amazing, because as far as, like, shooter mechanics go, it's no more deep than, like, Call of Duty 4. But the thing is that we've never had a game in VR, let alone with motion controls, that's not only that mechanically deep, but also just works 100% perfectly. Because that's the thing that, like, I was not taken out of the immersion at all during that whole time. Like, it just plays that fucking good. It's basically just I mean, if you like Starship Troopers, that's what it is, basically. It's Starship Troopers in VR, and it's a grand old time. These guys wouldn't know anything about it because they don't fucking VR, but I had such a great time with it.
I do want to say, though, back on ARMS.
Yeah.
Oh shit, is it time for me to leave again?
Oh my god.
I do want to say, though, I think it could use a little extra flair. Like, I feel like the windscreens weren't energetic enough. Know what I mean?
I'm sure that probably comes down to, like, that it's still in a pretty early build, but I mean, who knows?
I think the windscreen you get if you finish off the opponent with your super is fucking amazing, because, like, the final hit is a really satisfying, like, explosion of color.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think, though, one little thing I would like to see happen is, if you lose, you get 1 point. If it's a draw, you get 2 points. And I did have a draw happen once.
Yeah.
If you win, it's 3. But if you get a perfect, it should be 4. Because I got 3 perfects, and I only got 3 points each time. And I felt I should be getting a little extra.
You do get a bonus the longer your winning streak goes on.
You do?
Yeah. Because we got, like, the way we knew we won 10 rounds in a row is the game was like, here's your 10-round winning streak bonus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I never encountered such a thing.
So the more you get good, the more the game treats you good.
Okay, so it's basically ARMS strokes my ego.
Yeah.
Alright.
Hey kids.
Alright. Hey kids.
Looks like Monster Hunter Double Cross has crossplay.
Oh, nice. Well, there you go.
Nice.
That was pretty sudden. Wow. Look at that.
That's because
we got a question answered within the podcast.
Is Capcom watching?
Capcom's
but
watching.
We're not even
I take it back. Wave the Hados. All right. No.
It's because they're doing their Monster Hunter.
Yeah, they're doing the Monster Hunter
tournament,
whatever, right now.
I
guess we only have one last thing to talk about, Brian.
I know what it is, so let's talk about
gritty revivals.
Gritty revival, or just revivals in general, really.
Yeah, because we've gotten two.
Was that a spider?
What?
Did I see a spider drop in front of my face? I think I...
It's a gritty revival spider.
It's a gritty revival of Charlotte's Web.
the gritty revival part is that Charlotte still dies, but it's by a human.
Oh no!
I will smash her.
Charlotte's out, and this time she's thirsting for blood.
Oh no.
Matt's blood.
Charlotte's gonna kill all you kids.
I'm sure that spider just wants to be your friend, like the
they
spider
took her babies.
like the spider in Billy and Mandy. Anyone remember? What's his name? Jim?
They keep
It's been so long.
Yeah, it's been... Ah, man, I need to, like, revisit that show.
God, that show is such a fucking... I remember,
I love Richard Horvitz. Shut up.
I was watching that show at my grandpa's house. My cousin, my very old cousin, out of the age demographic for that show, was completely flabbergasted on how they got away with so much shit in that show.
Yeah.
Like, everything flew over my head, but he understood everything.
This is a really controversial opinion, but I've always felt that Billy and Mandy is the show that Invader Zim should have been. I think they're very similar in terms of, like, the subjects, but, like, one handles it way better than the other.
I need to rewatch Billy and Mandy.
Invader Zim episode, like I never understood the fucking cult following behind Invader Zim. Like, I watched it a ton as a kid, like, don't get me wrong, and I still think the show is really good, but, like, once you've seen, like, 6 episodes, you kinda, like, you've seen them all.
Yeah.
It's not an incredibly, like, unique show. Like, it really felt samey after, like, a season.
It really did. I could never get into it because of that.
But Billy and Mandy always stayed super, just, like, unique with all the fucking characters and whatnot they brought up.
Wasn't there an episode with Mandy struggling with, like, 2 sides of her personality or something?
Yeah.
Yep.
That was really...
I will say that, like, one episode of Invader Zim spooked the ever-loving shit out of me as a kid, because I watched it at, like, 1 in the morning, and it's the fucking episode when, man, I forget these characters' names. The sister... You know who I'm talking about. And, she like, goes to a big, like midnight opening to get, like, a PSP type thing. And this, like, dumb, shitty fat kid, like, cuts in line and pushes her out of the way, and all this, like, terrible shit happens. And then she gets really mad and basically, like, murders this fucking child.
Well,
like basically, like, if I remember the episode correctly, and I have to watch it again, but, like, I think it ended with, like, he gets trapped in an elevator, she fucking, like, cuts the line to the elevator, and it, like, crashes to his death. But then at the very end of the episode, in, like, a Carrie-like fashion, the kid just pops out of the fucking, like, remains of the rubble, like, screaming and gripping onto this PSP thing. And I was like... That's, like, the most terrifying shit I'd ever seen in the children's cartoon. Next to, like, putting Nosferatu in SpongeBob. That was so fucking unsettling. Like, nowadays, I've seen Nosferatu enough that I'm like, oh, yeah, it's Nosferatu. I'm, like, with SpongeBob on that one, but how the fuck did they get away with that?
Right? I still think about that.
It's
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu. It's so fucking weird. That's probably like those 2 moments. I can't, like, I know there's always, like, people being like, man, these cartoons really fucked me up as a kid, but I don't like to the point where people are, like, repressing memories of things that, like, spooked them. But, like, I've never had anything that, like, I mean, that's the whole point of repressing memories, but I've never really had anything that I think was, like, so fucking scary I had to push it out of my brain. Like, I pretty like, vividly remember things that spooked the shit out of me.
The thing I remember most that, like, still sticks with me is something like, one of the creepiest things I've ever fucking seen is, Dragon Ball Z when Cell absorbs 18 and 17. Like, congrats, kids, this is Vor. And it's just like... I still think about it, and it's still really unsettling to me.
There was
some people have it as a fetish now, but okay.
A childhood trauma of mine. I was in 2nd grade, and I was like an advanced reader. I was pretty much highest in my class because for some reason that year I excelled. But I had my teacher's aide. My teacher's aide gave me a comic because it was like a fantasy comic, and I liked those kind of things. What she didn't realize was it was an adult comic. It had sex and violence and gore, and that shit traumatized me. I threw that like across the room into the trash and crawled up in my blanket, and I had very, very, very bad dreams for at least a week. But I still remember there was a one panel of this comic book where a character was literally sliced in half.
Oh my god.
That shit should not be seen by any 8-year-old.
I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that, like, I was pretty much desensitized to a lot of that stuff. Like, it was really weird. When I was a kid, I could not go into, like, the back aisle of Party City because all the fucking Halloween masks on the wall would, like, spook the shit out of me. But I don't know what it is, but at one point when I was, like, in 4th grade, I somehow, my scared little boy self, watched, like, every slasher film known to man. Somehow didn't fucking terrify me in the slightest. I don't know. I really do not know how or why. Like none of the Friday the 13th or Halloween or anything affected me. But then, like, I remember, like, ever since then, like, I would go into Party City and be like, oh. Okay.
Well,
Great.
Matt...
Huh?
I think you're sufficiently traumatized enough as a kid to make the next Earthbound.
But speaking of traumatizing, gritty reboots,
there were 2 recently.
There were 2 recently. Brian saw one. I've seen another. Matt's also gonna stop talking for the next 10 minutes. Brian saw Samurai Jack Season 5, and I've started, because it started and hasn't finished yet, Twin Peaks Season 3.
Yeah.
And
I brought this topic up to you guys because I've been thinking about it lately. I think Samurai Jack, and according to what you say, Twin Peaks are like 2 of the few reboots that are actually in sync with what made the original so great. And
which is funny, because the biggest complaint about the new Twin Peaks is that it's not similar to the old show, but which is kind of true, but
the thing is, unlike most reboots, Samurai Jack Season 5 and Twin Peaks Season 3
are made
have
by
the original creators involved.
And also, similarly enough, because I think a similar thing happened with Arrested Development Season 4, but I don't know if any of you guys have seen that either. That's another show that I think has been getting a lot of the same reception as Samurai Jack and Twin Peaks, where there's a lot of people who hate it, and they say it's nothing like the old show, but, like, I mean, personally, when I saw Arrested Development, like, I marathoned the whole show, it was, like, when Season 4 was coming out. So when I finished the first 3 seasons, I watched the new season, and I was like, yeah, it's just more of the show. Didn't even feel like there was a huge gap between episodes, but I'm sure... Brian and I were talking about this, and it sucks that we had this conversation, so we're going to probably condense a lot of the things that we were saying. But a lot of it might really just come down to, like, how soon or long ago you've seen the original series, and, like, your personal expectations of what you would think another season of that show would be, compared to A, what the creators originally had, times B, the years of all sorts of things happening to those creators that might have changed their intents.
Yeah. Because as you described it, and I think this is true, it's like people basically want it to be like a season that they filmed and was lost to mankind for like a decade.
A lot of people, it seems like when Twin Peaks, the new Twin Peaks came out, I think people were really expecting like David Lynch to go, oh yeah, we filmed season 3 in 1992 and edited it, but we never showed anyone, so here it is. Which, like, when you keep up with that, like, so many things have happened within the actual 25 years since there has been a Twin Peaks official thing in the mainstream. And, like, you can tell because the new show has elements of all those things. I'm sure I don't really have to introduce Twin Peaks, and I'm sure Brian doesn't have to introduce Samurai Jack. Like, I'm sure they're shows that have been in the mainstream conscious for long enough. That's the reason why they came back. But, like, David Lynch is one of the more prominent directors in Hollywood, and he's been making movies, tons of movies, since Twin Peaks. And a lot of the influences of those movies are in the new show. So what ends up happening is you have a show that's way darker, but the actual structure is very similar. And this is where I kind of have to really, really dance around what I thought about Twin Peaks without getting into spoilers. And that is, what made the old show so great, or at least what made season 1 great, is that you have a mystery, you have a town that's seemingly in on the mystery, but we don't know. And we have one character, who is Cooper, who is trying to work his way and try to, solve this thing with the best of his abilities. And the first season, which Brian recently rewatched, is fucking great.
I'm on season 7 of episode 2. No, season
2. Oh my
episode
god.
8.
Whoa, Brian.
On episode 8.
What year are you
from? You're beyond Lynch. But and it's great. But then, as many people who know about Twin Peaks know, the actual mystery of the show was solved halfway through season 2. So you end up having, the main character, Cooper, kind of going through these flavor of the week mysteries, while all the townsfolk are doing, weird, zany things that have nothing to do with anything. And it just, it's reviled because it ended up, there's no purpose. It's just wasting our time. There's literally nothing going on interesting.
Plus, You're not watching what you're watching for.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like you're watching a spin-off at times. In fact, there's a part where one of the characters literally leaves the show and has a whole subplot with characters who are not any of the Twin Peaks cast. They're just fucking around for several episodes. Meanwhile, this new show has a way darker tone than the original show. But interestingly enough, it's about a mystery and a bunch of weird fucking people who are seemingly tied into this mystery, and a couple choice characters who are working their way through it. The only difference is this time those characters aren't going, they got a cherry pie that'll kill ya. Damn fine coffee. There's a fish in the percolator. But you know what? Twin Peaks was a great show, but season 3, so far, these first 4 episodes, might actually be some of the best television I've seen in my life. I'm going deep with the hyperbole here, with, saying that fucking Farpoint's the best playing VR game, and ARMS is the best motion controls, and Twin Peaks is... But, after really giving these things, heavy thought, the new season of Twin Peaks just fucking whacks it right out of the park. That being said, if you're interested, please watch the first 2 seasons first. I know the second season gets hard to get through, but once you get through it and Firewalk with me, it's, in my opinion, it's totally worth it.
Yeah,
and I am so fucking excited to see the rest of the 16 hours there is left of this fucking show.
Let me see. I finished episode 7 earlier today. Wacky shit with Leland happened at the end of it, which I kind of saw coming. But yeah, I think what makes Twin Peaks and Samurai Jack work so well is they're in tune with the original. And for any change, there's context, right? Like, in Samurai Jack, there's context for why Jack is now older, grittier, why he's the way he is now, right? Like, he doesn't have his sword anymore. He's had to witness Aku's terror for 50 years.
Yeah.
And that's messing with him. And oddly enough, Samurai Jack was kind of like...
I'm just going to interject this now, because I think we're sort of heading towards the same point. And I think there's two reasons why these shows are considerably darker. And I think the two being that, A, both Samurai Jack and even Arrested Development and Twin Peaks are, first off, they're all on way different networks than they originally started. Samurai Jack, not so much. Samurai Jack moved from Cartoon Network to Adult Swim. Arrested Development went from Fox to Netflix, and Twin Peaks is going from ABC to Showtime, which means the more freedom and the more mature audience means they can get away with doing darker and more mature themes. But I think the other thing that maybe people don't realize is that a lot of these shows left off with really dark stories going on.
Yeah, for the most part.
And because that's what you were kind of saying with Jack. Like, the ending of season 4 of Jack is leading to a more darker show. And the ending of Twin Peaks season 2, along with Fire Walk with Me, was also leading towards a much darker show. So really, it's more surprising that people were expecting, happy-go-lucky next iterations of these shows.
Yeah, Jack had... Now, the ending in Samurai Jack is completely different from what they hinted at from earlier on. But they did hint Jack would have to go through intense struggles and he would not defeat Aku until he was an older, more, refined warrior. Like, he was definitely going to need more hardship. He would have to grow as a character, which is ultimately what we got.
But you know what? Like, a lot of people might say making these shows that were once kind of happy-go-lucky, making them darker might be just kind of like too edgy or something. But like, if anything, I think it's actually like, at least in the case of Twin Peaks, like Twin Peaks was always a show that was able to manage like a real good trio of like quirky characters, really kind of dark, terrifying situations and sequences, and just great, like, just television comedy. But interestingly enough, like, I think exemplifying how dark Twin Peaks is in the new season has made the other two just sort of, the word escapes me, the other two kind of sectors even fucking greater. Because
it's accentuated them.
Yeah, because the first two episodes of the first 2.5 episodes in the new season of Twin Peaks have fucking terrifying imagery. Like to the point where I'm even surprised they can show it on TV. Like, somehow, and this is not really a spoiler, like, somehow the new season of Twin Peaks is more gruesome than Ash vs. Evil Dead. I don't know how, but it is. But it makes scenes like, this is not a spoiler, Michael Cera being Andy and Lucy's kid doing a Marlon Brando impression fucking hilarious. And not ironically either. Because you can, it's a tell you can see it as, meant to be joking, but when clashed with seeing some of the darkest shit you've ever seen in a TV show, and then going to that, it's like, it just hits you like a fucking train, and it's great.
I figured that's who he was playing. I figured he was their kid, because...
as much as I would not like, as much as I would love to not spoil the surprise of it, the funny thing is that, like, that's what everyone was thinking he was gonna play.
It seems pretty obvious, right? Who else would he play?
It was, like, I remember that the two theories were that he was either going to be Andy and Lucy's kid or the log lad, the kid of the log lady.
Wow.
But yeah, Andy, we fucking hit it the nail on the head. Yeah. And the scene's great. Go on YouTube and watch that scene, but nothing else from the show.
Unless it's Cooper saying hello, apparently.
Oh, it's not a spoiler if you just see the hello. Because the context is a spoiler. The clip is fine.
Yeah, I do want to say, though, I think what makes so many show revivals not work is not just that the new people don't have an understanding what they made the original so great, aka the Star Trek film reboots, all except for Beyond.
Yeah.
It's that they kind of lack proper context, because I feel like what makes... Because the shift from Star Wars from the originals to the prequels, the reason for these changes are completely... They're not really given to you in the story. They're a real-world context that only a few people know of. And then going to the sequel movies with, like, Episode 7, it's still contextual as to why they're so different from the prequels.
Mean, this is definitely generalizing, but most reboots are, and not remakes, reboots, there is a difference, and that's the important key, are usually just made to build on a pre-existing world. But what's funny is that a lot of the time that's just not necessary. Like, the Star Wars prequels definitely did a lot more world building than the original 3 ever did. But the original 3 are so much better because they're fucking movies. And not just, like, big budgeted fan fiction.
Yeah.
And I think we end up seeing that a lot. The new Powerpuff Girls is a great example. It doesn't actually continue the spirit of the show. It's just wearing this fucking mask that makes you go, oh yeah, it's totally the same show, but it just comes off as something a 5-year-old wrote.
Yeah.
It just seems like a... Yeah?
It doesn't come off as something a 5-year-old writes. Well, it comes off as something...
A 30-year-old wrote for a 5-year-old.
Yeah, a 30-year-old wrote thinking it would be cool for children.
Tumblrette wrote. Yeah. Especially with that transgender episode that wasn't meant to be a transgender episode, but they spun it that way. It always... Never forget that. But I was talking...
Sorry, but I just... Alright, go on.
This is the one part Matt can talk on. Matt, what made Star Trek Beyond so much better?
Star Trek Beyond was actually in tune with the original Star Trek.
I heard that too.
The thing is, Simon Pegg co-wrote the script, and before he wrote it, he went back and watched the entire series, so he understood every character way more than the new writers who wrote the scenarios for the new movies did. They basically watched like one episode and took a basic character trait from each character and like applied it tenfold to each character. The characters in Beyond are not only faithful to their original characters, but they're actually nuanced. They have character development, and the movie actually has a very... It's dark in all the right ways instead of gritty, edgy. It's dark in all the right ways, but it has a very light tone and good heart to it that makes it feel like a proper Star Trek thing.
Yeah. My sister, big Star Trek fan, she says the only thing that's like really not in tune is the fact that they wanted Sulu to be gay, because according to her, Sulu has an alien space baby with another woman.
Yeah,
the funny
that's
thing
more
is
to
that,
pay respect to the original actor than anything.
Which
I know.
Which is funny because George Takei actually hated that they did that.
I know he told him not to do it because it would make him seem like he was a closeted gay character. Because these are the same characters, they're just in different timelines.
Yeah.
The thing is, with that one, it's not that prevalent in Beyond. I didn't even notice it. So, yeah.
Yeah, they edited it out. According to my sister, he was supposed to kiss his husband, but they removed it.
Good.
Good. Now he's more in tune with Takei Sulu.
Now George Takei approves.
And that's a wrap, folks. Like that's it.
No, wait a minute.
Let Colin finish what he was saying.
Oh, that's right. He was gonna say something.
I was gonna say something, but get this. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Is it about Monster Hunter?
I totally forgot. I was gonna say something about Twin Peaks. Oh, now I remember.
Okay.
There was a time when
you were a wee lad
in early 2015 when they announced that Twin Peaks would be coming back, and it was the hypest shit on the planet. And then I think the day before Easter of all days, turns out, no, it was like the day before Easter they announced that it was coming back. A week later, turns out that negotiations between David Lynch and Showtime did not work out, and Lynch fucking walked. And there was like a good 2 months where Showtime was actually planning on continuing to do the show without David Lynch. And I know Twin Peaks has always been, I just want to point out, it's always been a joint kind of production with Mark Frost and David Lynch, but David Lynch is really, I mean, he spearheads most of it, most of the story ideas and the cinematography and everything. Just, it's how everything is portrayed is definitely from his camp. Mark Frost always has been more of just the melodrama side of the story. I am so fucking curious as to what a Mark Frost only Showtime, like, Lynchless version of Twin Peaks would have been. It probably would have been more akin to what everyone would have wanted with the Damn Fine Coffee, but, like, I don't know, I feel like it comes down to the weird complaints that people are like, it's too dark, it's too cryptic, it's not explaining things to me. But it's like, did you also want to see what happened with Season 2, where we just have Coop doing Flavor of the Week mystery things while the townspeople do wacky things? Isn't that the thing that made us hate a part of the show? Would we really want that? I say we just... You know, I think part of it comes down to the fact that I think we should just be grateful that these shows are coming back and that the creators are working on it. Of course, it doesn't mean it's free from critique or anything. I'm just saying, like...
You win some, you lose some.
Yeah, no, it's how the show goes. And I'm sure they might have a bit of a better understanding than most. Not all the time. Those new Alien movies are fucking terrible. Ridley Scott, what are you doing? But I think I'd rather see what we have now than what we could have gotten.
Yeah.
Because it's fucking fantastic. It's the best.
Okay, if you say so. Yeah. I have a lot of mosquito bites for no apparent reason.
And that's our cue to end this episode. Thank you for sticking around. I was absent for like at least half of this podcast, but hopefully we'll.
Don't worry, it's going to be edited down.
It's going to be edited down, but
yeah, we're definitely gonna.
I'm very curious if Brian's going to leave my audio in or not. But yeah, thank you for listening.
I expect
we'll
a lot of
see you next week. Or
I mean, to be fair, it was like
whatever.
Yeah, see you in a reasonable amount of time.
See you in a reasonable amount of time.
See ya.
Bye.
Ridley Scott, you're a hack.
Hack fraud.